Hello, we're on the sidelines of the National Insurance event and we have with us Mr. Neelesh Garg, the MD and CEO of Tata AIG General Insurance. Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time to speak to us. And I have a couple of questions based on your speech and a couple of others. So I'm going to begin with the surety insurance, which seems to be the talk of the town, that a lot of the government, the chairman recently at a speech spoke about how he intends to give the infrastructure a push, and the only way India will propel is via infrastructure push, and that comes from surety bonds. From what I understand right now, we only have a couple of companies that deal with that. So what are your thoughts on it, and when do you see this actually picking up?
So surety bonds, I mean, we all know that infrastructure is a very, very large opportunity in India. So surety bonds also will become very large. So one, I think surety bonds will really take off with the large reinsurance support. So it is a very specialized product, globally available, but it needs a lot of deep technical expertise and it needs a very large capital base. So large reinsurance support is, I think, a very important prerequisite. And second is, I think in the Indian ecosystem, what is the security, behind the surety bonds in terms of the IBC code, the parity with the financial lenders. I think those are some of the preconditions, which will need to be done before surety bonds, takes off. But I think regulator has been very, very supportive, including the ministry. I think, we are working our way, and I see probably next financial year is when surety bonds will take off.
So are you tying up with any particular banks for this? Is there talk about them associating together? Because with the kind of deep dive that you need into the financials of the person that you're guaranteeing, how do you see this panning out? Is it practical, and are you all looking at it?
So Tata AIG is a very strong player in commercial lines. So we are looking at surety bonds, and we are in very advanced stages of discussions with a lot of the top global reinsurers to stitch it up, because when we enter a product, we want it in it to be for the long term, and we need to provide the capacities which will make a real difference, for the infrastructure. So we are working on that, and once it's finalized, we will be launching a product.
By this year?
Hopefully before this year end.
So now a little bit on the parametric insurance that you spoke of. There's a lot of hesitance from reinsurers, is what I understand, in terms of reinsuring this sort of business. Are you seeing that? Is that why the rates are high? Not a lot of people are opting for it because, like you said, the claim payouts are a problem in that sense, where you look at claims from the perspective of fraud. So is that what is holding it back? What is the barrier that's not letting parametric insurance pick off in India as much as it is globally?
No, parametric insurance is a very powerful concept for everybody to understand. It's just that the awareness level of India or the Indian customer is little low. So it's not like a normal insurance which moves from one insurer to the other, but this is a new insurance which will need to be purchased. In every new insurance, there is a period of 12 to maybe to even 24 months, for the Indian customer to understand the full need of it. So I think that's the thing, which is happening. I don't think there is any pricing issue. In fact, in claims, parametric insurance claims are the best, because since there is no survey, it's defined on a trigger. So the insurance claims on a parametric product are the fastest, and they are the most transparent. So I think, parametric insurances will become, very large in a country like India.
And so in your speech, I remember you mentioned that we're growing at 14x, and then eventually we need to grow at 20x for India to reach the goal of insurance for all by 2047. So what do you think the industry can do to boost this growth? And I believe the chairman and all of you all, the industry in totality is taking a lot of effort. So where is that heading? Do you see that number going up very quickly? How is it going to be?
So I think Chairman IRDA and the regulator has been driving it very hard, and they've made a lot of changes, including ease of use and products, use and file for products, product innovation, the overall number of reports and MISs which the insurance company need to file. So there are a lot of things which every day, now raising of alternate capital has become you don't need to go to the regulator. Similarly, I think RBC and IFRS again are going to become big game changers. So I think all of these things are happening. I think all the enablers are in place. I think the only thing which we are working very closely with the regulator is further opening up of the distribution. So once that happens, I think the insurance industry, I don't see any reason why we'll not be able to grow at 20% CAGR.
So something on the EOM that has been revised recently, and there's a lot of back work that goes into defining your expenses of management, right? If you have to set them at 30% and 35% for particular lines of business, how is that panning out? Are we within limits as an industry and you individually? I mean, as a company, and do you see some competition in terms of commission? Say, do you have a niche line of business that you're targeting? And more commission towards that versus the others? Are you seeing some aggression in certain lines of business?
So not really. I mean, so one, I think to answer your question, Tata AIG is compliant with the UM guidelines. Number two, I would say most of the large players also are compliant. So certain mid to small size players, are their expenses, or newer players, their expenses, were higher. And I think all of them now, as per the new guidelines, they need to submit, their plans to IRDA in terms of, how to bring down their expenses. So I don't see any increase in irrational competition post UM, if that's your question. So I think, overall this cap on overall expense of the company is a very good event, which is happening, and I think it'll make the industry much stronger.
And is there any focus area where you're putting in maybe more funds towards commission, sparing more funds for commission?
No, not really. I mean, the only the focus, for Tata AIG as a company, we are putting a lot of investment into digital. So we want to be the most digitally agile and digitally native company, and that's where our large part of the focus is.